why put chief marketing and content officer on the, what's the and content? I don't know if I've seen that a lot by marketers.
No, I think it's pretty rare, if not unique, actually. And it's sort of interesting when they approached me for the role, it was a question I asked, why and content? Because I've always just thought of content as a part of marketing.
I thought it was just a thing, right? Exactly, right, yeah.
But I think the point that was made to me, and now I'm in the firm and I've been here nearly a year now, is absolutely true, is one, content is incredibly important, particularly on our institutional wealth businesses. And as with any large organization, and having worked in a few, I've seen this in other places, there is no shortage of content creators.
Oh my
but
goodness.
Clearly,
right.
You do have a shortage of clients and client attention. And therefore, there's a lot of work that we need to do to make sure that the content that we're putting out there actually meets the needs of our clients. It reaches them in the right places, and we deliver it in the right format. And what I mean by that is moving away from the PDF white paper, which can be quite popular in the financial services industry, and really embracing things like podcasts and video and short form written, etc. So that was one part. And then the other part is actually, I have the marketing function under my remit, as you would expect, so the business marketers and the enterprise marketers. But I also have Citi's Global Insights team, which is basically our thought leadership engine. And they are producing a huge amount of content, which they use to communicate the great insights and thought leadership that they bring to life around the world. So it was a nod to that as well. We recognize that it is marketing, but it's marketing plus a few other things.
If you're going to be a great content officer, what does that mean? What does that mean? Yeah,
Great
what's
question.
success look like?
So I think, my sort of simple answer would be, I think it's really understanding what you're trying to achieve, who you therefore need to speak to, and in simple terms, what's the best way to do that? And I think that sounds very logical. That's just sort of strategy.
Yeah.
But what you tend to find in a lot of large organizations is a lot of content creation and authoring happens outside of the marketing function. So you're working with product partners, business heads, and they are creating a lot of content.
Yeah.
But they're not always doing it with that sort of simple checklist in mind in terms of what am I actually really trying to achieve? Who do I really need to speak to? What's the best way of actually doing that? And I think what invariably happens is a poor marketer in one of the marketing teams suddenly gets all this content sort of on their lap and being told to send it out and get it in front of as many clients as you possibly can, and I'm kind of exaggerating to make a point.
Yeah.
But I think, what we've got to try and do, particularly in the role that I'm in, is make sure we bring that more strategic approach to content, and we bring it to content at the authoring stage, not just at the, hey, now I've produced it, please can you get this out for me? Because I think, it's sort of the old mantra of we'd like to do less great content, which sort of sounds a little bit oxymoronic, but it's like we want fewer pieces, but I want it to be great.
Yeah.
And I think if you think about that from the client experience, if we literally sent out everything that we were producing, our client would probably get bombarded multiple times a day, every day of the year.
Yeah.
We've got to be much, much smarter. And we've got to think about that holistic experience as well. Because we have clients, we have 5 businesses here in Citi, we have clients who can be a client of every single business. And if we don't actually recognize the fact that they are a client of every single business, you could multiply their content experience by 5, it could get very, very busy and very, very noisy for them. So that's a lot of what we're looking at as well. So that's what I would say to your question around what's great content.